Hey guys, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia and I'm coming to you from Germany. Today is Sunday, the 12th of February 2017. So if you're a new viewer, thank you so much for checking out my podcast. And if you're coming back, thank you ever so much. I really appreciate that. You might know that I usually record on Mondays, but I'm actually busy with some job-related things tomorrow. So I decided to podcast today because I have so many things to share with you anyways. So this is a knitting podcast, and usually I will talk about finished objects, works in progress, acquisitions, and then life in general. But today we have two special segments which I'll start in the beginning. So first I'll talk about knit-along news and giveaways, and then I will talk about a review that I'll be doing today. So to start off, we have a Ravelry group called the Happy Knitting Podcast group on Ravelry, in which I'm hosting 2 knit-alongs at the moment. To participate in the knit-alongs, you need to be a viewer of the podcast and a part of the group, so you can join the group. And the 2 knit-alongs that we're hosting are the Geeky Sock Along, which runs until the end of March. And that is a knit-along for socks that are somehow geeky, whether that may be the pattern or the yarn or just something that relates to something geeky that you can explain to me works. And I've talked about that in previous episodes. We have some really great prizes from Valkyrie Fibers, from Golden Yarns, from Knitting in France, Fandom Doodler, and Twisted Threads. So all the prizes are linked in the thread. Thank you so much to the makers who are donating prizes. And yeah, the second knit-along is the One Ball with Love Cow, which is an informal knit-along, meaning that there won't be any prizes officially. There is no FO thread or anything. I just started that because I wanted to knit at least 12 pair of commercial sock yarn socks this year. So 1 per month. And I just thought I'd start a thread, and I never expected that so many of you would join in, and it's become a huge part of the podcast and a major inspiration for me. So for that, I actually have a surprise to announce, and that is that I will be giving away a prize for that. Because I always kind of wanted to do something, because like I said, I never expected so many of you to actually join in, seeing as it is an informal knit-along. And then Mina contacted me, Mina of Knitting Expat, and she so generously gave me a copy of her new sock club, the New York collection, which is a club in which you'll receive, I think, 7 sock patterns, like 1 per month. And I was so excited about this because I really wanted to get that for myself anyways. And she gave me a copy, and she also gave one to the podcast to give away as a prize. So I thought, because you guys have been so great in participating in that, I would use that as a prize for the One Ball with Love Cow. So thank you so much, Mina, for donating that. Like I said, it's really greatly appreciated. I'm sure most of you watch her podcast, so you'll know what's going on. But if not, please do check it out. And I was actually going to draw a surprise winner right now, but Ravelry has been down all morning. So I'm going to draw a prize in the next couple of days. So for those of you who have already participated, you're all in. And if you have been wanting to post in the thread and not gotten around to it, maybe now would be a good time to do so, because I will draw a winner and then reach out straight to you and also give your name to Mina, so she will gift you the pattern. Because I think it starts on March 1st, which is pretty soon, so I'm imagining that most of you would want to get the pattern relatively soon. So yeah, I will just give that away as part of the chatter thread for the One Ball with Love Cow. So that's it for knit-alongs and administrative stuff. So I'm really excited to I am really excited to be doing a review for you guys today. I love reviewing things. I think it's a really fun thing to do every now and then. Please do know that I am not affiliated or getting paid or anything, so anything I do share, I do really love. And if I didn't love it, I would not share it on the podcast. So today I'll be talking about this yarn, which is called Pichinku yarn, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, Dana. Dana is the face and head and brains behind this, and she reached out to me a couple of weeks ago and asked if I would want to be a part of their Kickstarter campaign. So Dana is from the US, but she is based in Cusco, Peru, I think she has been there for like 4 years and been doing all sorts of really, really creative, crafty social enterprises and all that sort of stuff. And she has started this company called Pichinku. And what they do is they use baby alpaca yarn, which is obviously everywhere in Peru, and Peru is a perfect place. And together with like local women, they dye yarn. We're using natural dyes. And I think it's just so amazing what they're doing. I think there's actually not that many natural dyeing companies out there, at least not like, there are a few indie dyers who do natural dyeing, but it's not super popular or big anywhere. And she has sent me some yarn to try and review, and I've been chatting with Dana so much, and it is just so interesting. So first of all, Pichinku can be found on Instagram, and they also have a Kickstarter campaign. So what they're doing is she has, like I said, she has these samples that she sent out, but on Kickstarter, I think it's like crowdfunding sort of thing. She is running a campaign until the end of February, and so many people have contributed already. It kind of blows my mind. It's so fun to check every day and see how much money has been donated, and essentially you can pledge a certain amount of money and you will get rewards. So I think for a certain amount of money you can get a skein of yarn or 2 skeins, or there's a really, really creative prizes that you can get, which is super fun. So I think you can, spend a little bit of money to support her and her local enterprise, and at the same time you will get beautiful yarn out of it. So that's really great. And because Dana is just at the start of all this, they're super open. So I've been kind of bugging her with lots of questions, and she will tell you anything. And for example, this yarn that I'm having in my hands right now is a DK weight yarn, but she says you can spin and dye all kinds of different weights and different spinning techniques and all that. So there are like so many possibilities out there, which I think is just really great. So you could really, get in touch with her and make a difference and get exactly what you want in something. And yeah, I just think it's really, really exciting. Like, she's doing something crafty, but at the same time supporting local women in Peru. That's just really fascinating. So if that's something you're interested in, I'm really bad at explaining all of it, but on the Kickstarter page, which I will link, there's a video, so just check that out. And she has also provided the link and lots of information in my Ravelry group, so just check those places out, check Instagram, because like I said, I'm probably getting half of this wrong, because Dana is the one who's doing all of this. But anyway, she sent me this yarn to review, and I have been trying so hard not to cast on because I didn't want to show it to you in the skein. But the minis came really beautiful packaged. I just needed to take them out and feel them, because, guys, the yarn is so squishy. So these are different samples, and all of these are naturally dyed, so using different plants. So these are just some tiny samples, which are super cute. And then she also sent me this squishy skein. And guys, this is so soft. I'm not sure if you can see the halo that this has. I'll try to show it to you. It is 100% baby alpaca. And alpaca is sometimes known to be scratchy, but this is so soft. Like, this is softer than a lot of merino yarn that I've tried. It is super soft, it has a halo, and you can see it is a pretty solid color, but there are different shades, and it has this sort of sheen on it. It's a really, really beautiful yarn. I've been kind of continually touching it and playing with it and opening up. And yeah, I just really love this yarn. So this teal shade is dyed using a plant that I can't pronounce, but I asked Dana and she could tell me so much about it. I think it's a plant that is then infected with a fungus, which is then used to dye this. So it's really, really interesting what they're doing, and I'm sure some of you have more of an idea about natural dyeing than I do. But anyways, from first feel, this yarn is super soft. Like, I would have no qualms whatsoever to put this next to my skin, around my neck. And I wouldn't do that with lots of alpaca yarn, but this is definitely, it is so soft. It would be perfect for basically anything. So this is DK weight, which is why I'll talk about this more later in conjunction with some of my acquisitions, because I have some plans for this. But like I said, there could be other weights in the future. This is just what they have at the moment. It comes to you straight from Peru, which I think is exciting, and I just like the aspect of, having yarn that is you know, going towards a good cause and serving a real purpose and helping local women make a living in Peru. So I will knit with this and give you more review then, how I feel about it, how I enjoyed knitting with it, all of it. But yeah, so far I can definitely recommend it. I really hope that Pichinku Yarns and Dana, they will reach their Kickstarter goal, because they need to reach a certain goal in order to be able to go forward with this and actually mass produce these yarns to sell them on the market. So yeah, if you're at all interested in this, please just do check it out and see what you might be interested in, and I think Dana and her team will really appreciate it. So that's that, and now let's jump into some finished projects. I have one finished object this week, and surprise, surprise, it's a pair of socks. So I finished these Regia socks, which are in their Anna and Carlos design line colorway number 3768, which is also called Nissedal color, which is a place in Norway, thanks to some viewers who explained that to me. So I just knit some vanilla socks. As you can see, they're almost matchy-matchy. You can see at the toes they're slightly different, but I think they matched up pretty well. These are for me. I knit them over 64, no, I didn't. I knit them over 60 stitches on a 2.5mm US 1.5 needle. And I talked about this colorway previously. I love it so much. I think it is such a fun self-patterning colorway. It's probably my favorite that Regia has out there at the moment. And I'm so happy to have these done, and I will wear them to death. The heel that I use for these ones is the Kiss the Partridge heel, which is by Shauna of Shauna Stitches on Instagram. And it is a paid for pattern, I believe, but it is definitely worth it because it creates this slip stitch heel similar to the Fisher's Kiss heel, but it is much thicker. So I think it's gonna wear really, really well. I have knitted before but gifted the pair, so I haven't actually tried it out myself. So I'm really curious about how I will like wearing these socks. But I think it looks really pretty, even with the self-patterning yarn. And I can imagine with a sort of speckled or more solid yarn, it would look completely different once again. So if you're in the market for a different sort of heel, this might be one that you're interested in. So yeah, I'm happy to have these done, and I'm looking forward to actually wearing them pretty soon. As you can see, I knit a very long leg once again. I'm really liking the long socks, as you know. And yeah, these are done. Sorry, I feel like I'm a little bit out of focus today, and it's just because I wasn't sure if I was going to record today or tomorrow or Tuesday, and things just kind of got a little bit crazy. I like to be prepared. Anyways, let's move on to some works in progress. So in this bag, which I love, it's from Erin Lane, and my friend Jennifer sent it to me. I have my test knit for Mina, who I talked about just before. And I'm test knitting the lacy socks for her. I think they are not named yet and they're not released yet, but I will let you know as soon as they are. I showed this to you on the sock blocker last week. This is the first sock that I have already finished. So it has this sort of lace motif at the top, and then a more simple sort of lace that goes along the foot. And yeah, I'm still working on these. So I have just turned the heel this morning of the second sock. I really want to get these done because these will be gift socks for my grandma. So I just knit this much this week on the sock. And as you can see, I'm using a gradient yarn. This is Regia Perfect. And the colorway is number 7092. And I mentioned last week how I was a little bit disappointed about this yarn because I generally love Regia to bits, but this one doesn't look at all like it's supposed to look on the ball. So it is a lot more vibrant red than I expected. I won't go into detail about that this week. I still love Regia, it's not going to change that, but I was a little bit disappointed about this colorway. And with Regia, I feel like the quality kind of changes as well. Like some of the yarns are really nice and sturdy and plump, and this one feels a little bit more thin and fiddly. But I still like it, and I think my grandma will love these socks. I think she will really, really appreciate it. She's like the most knit-worthy person I know. I gifted her a pair of pattern socks, of monkey socks, and every single time I talk to her, to my grandpa, to my mom, they will be telling me that she's wearing them and she's admiring them. So she is the perfect recipient for a beautiful lace pair of socks. So like I said, the design is by Mina Phillip of Knitting Expat, and I will let you know once she publishes this pattern. And I'm knitting this on 2.25mm US size 1 higher sharps, and I'm knitting the medium size. So that's that sock, and I would like to get that off the needles relatively soon because I have so many things that I want to cast on. I have found my sock mojo again, and I just want to knit all the things. And also on Tuesday is Valentine's Day, so I'm going to do the Valentine's Day cast on, which I talked about last week as well, which I'm hosting in my Ravelry group, so I'd like to have them done by then, or at least close to finishing. I also cast on a new pair of socks for my boyfriend. So apparently at the moment I'm really good at gift knitting. And these socks I am knitting 2 at a time, and I will show you the yarn first. I'm using, once again, She Bought Garne in her soft socks base in the colorway Sunflower, which is an 80/20 merino nylon. And like I said, knitting them 2 at a time, and these are just plain vanilla socks because Kai loves vanilla socks. And I'm really enjoying them. I just really wanted to cast on something bright and colorful, and this is what they look like. They have been crumpled up in the bag, so excuse that. But you should be able to see how beautiful these colors are. They're definitely out of my comfort zone color-wise. It's not really something that I would pick, but I'm really enjoying working with it because they're so bright and happy. They're coming across a little bit more green than they are. They're like yellow-green and also like almost like orangey yellow. And I think they're really pretty. So I'm definitely enjoying working on them. I've mentioned before my love for She Bought Garne soft socks. It's basically my favorite sock base to knit with in the world. It's just amazing. So if I'm using their She Bought Garne yarn, I'm much more motivated to knit man-sized socks. So I cast on 20 rounds of 2x2 rib, and now, like I said, I'm just doing plain vanilla socks. I'm doing 64 stitches because I'm using a larger needle. I'm using a 2.5, which is a US 1.5. And that just makes the socks go a little bit faster, and also Nadine's yarn is very plump fingering yarn, so even with the larger needle, it's a very thick sock, which I'm really enjoying. So these will be for Kai, and I think that's all I have to say about that. Look how bright they are. They're so happy. Yeah, I'm really enjoying them. I'm not sure if he wants to have long socks or kind of shorter ones. I need to check with him. But yeah. So that's my second pair of socks, and it's living in this bag that Connie, who has the Chili Knits yarn and podcast, gave to me a while ago. And this one is perfect for 2 at a time socks because it can just house like 2 half cakes of yarn perfectly. So I'm really enjoying this bag as well, and obviously it goes with the color. Next, let's talk about my Find Your Fade. This bag is so stuffed full. I think if this thing grows anymore, I don't have any project bag to put it in anymore because it's just so huge. But this is my fade. It is ridiculously large. And the pattern is by Andrea Mowry, in case you didn't know. And everyone is knitting it at the moment. And I caved and started one as well a couple of weeks ago. And I'm loving it. The only thing I will say is by now this shawl is so big, it's actually getting very hard to maneuver. So I constantly have to maneuver everything around because it is just so huge. So I'll try to give you an idea of what this looks like. This is the beginning. It goes into this purple and gray. And then it fades into this more speckled gray, and then it fades into the pink, and I have just joined another color. So this thing is so huge. I'm sorry I can't show it to you very well, but if you go to my Instagram, you will find a few photos which I think are more clear and you'll see what's going on. but I am on the second to last color. So let's see. I'm really bad at this today, I'm sorry guys. So the stitch marker is where I was last week. So I have completed one lace section with the grayish pink from Life on the Long Grass and just joined the next color. And this color is from Burrow and Soar, who's a UK-based dyer. And this is in her merino nylon sock base. And I don't think this colorway has a name, at least it didn't have a name when she sent it to me. But it's really pretty. It is a little bit more sturdy than I imagined, but I think it's going to work really well with what I have planned with the colors. And yeah, that's my Find Your Fade. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm not very good at showing this to you today, but I don't really know how I would show it to you either. The rows are quite long, obviously, by now. And I am actually starting to be excited about having this done as well. Like I said, this is so huge. I think it's over 2 meters long already. I can't wait to wear it, but yeah, I love it. And the funny thing is that I still can't really imagine how it's going to look once it's done. Because there's so many colors in here, and it's just, yeah, I'm really curious to see how it will be once it's finished. So I'm using 3.5mm needles, and the only modification that I made is I'm doing a different decrease. So I'm doing a central double decrease instead of the pattern, what the pattern suggests. Just because I think that's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing to my eye. And if you're wondering how that works, just Google central double decrease, or a CDD, and you will find lots of tutorials for that. Besides that, I'm just following the pattern, and all the yarns that I've used are listed on my project page, so just look it up, because to go through all of them right now would be a little bit insane. So yeah, that's my Find Your Fade. Whoops. And then I also cast on a new project. I cast on a new project because I really wanted to start my cardigan with my sweaters quantity of yarn that I purchased, I think, the end of last year. So I've been plotting what to knit with this. I wanted to knit a cardigan out of this yarn, which is Malabrigo Rios in the Sabiduria colorway. This is what it looks like. It's really pretty tonal, sort of like purples and browns. And I really wanted a simple worsted weight cardigan. And because I don't know if I have enough yarn, or I do have enough yarn, but it's going to be close, I wanted one that is knit from the top down and doesn't have a knitted on collar, but one that you knit kind of as you knit the body of the sweater, just because that way it is easier with yarn management and less guessing work, and also because I'm alternating skeins, I think that makes it easier. So the pattern I chose to knit is the Harvest cardigan by Tin Can Knits, which is actually a free pattern, which is always great. And it's my second time knitting a Tin Can Knits pattern, and they're just so good. They're just fantastic patterns because you get so much information with the pattern and tutorials, and it's just really great. So if you haven't knit a sweater before and you're kind of intimidated, I would definitely recommend their patterns. So, like I said, it's a top-down sweater. You start by knitting some of this garter band, and then you pick up the stitches and it turns into the collar. So you can see where I am now. I have started the collar, I've done all the raglan increases, and I have separated for the sleeves, as you can see. So now I'm just knitting down the body. So this being worsted weight, it goes very fast, at least for me, because I'm used to knitting my sweaters in fingering weight. So I'm really enjoying this knit so far. If you're thinking it looks a little bit small, it's because the yarn will grow once I wash it and block it. I have knit a swatch with the needle size suggested and a smaller needle size. This is the same yarn, it's just a different colorway. And my gauge was too off even with the smaller needles, because I tend to have a bit of a looser gauge with bigger needles. So what I'm doing is I'm knitting the extra small size with blocking. That should get me a small to medium. I did all the maths. I think it should work out, and if not, I don't really care. I think it's going to get bigger just by wearing it because it is a superwash yarn, and I knit a baby sweater out of this yarn before and that grew quite a bit as well. So I think it's going to work somehow. And I'm alternating skeins. I think at some point I'm actually going to stop working on the body and knit the sleeves first. And I have half a skein left over from the yarn that I was using up here to continue for the sleeves, so there's no color change there as well. So with alternating skeins, it is definitely not pulling as much. It's still patchy, but not as patchy. But it is a little bit cumbersome, I must admit, to alternate skeins every row. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this, and I'm enjoying working with this yarn. Most of the sweaters I knit have been knit out of some more or less commercial cheap yarn, just because I don't like spending a lot of money on sweaters quantities of yarn, because that can get quite expensive. So this is the first sweater that I'm knitting out of more sort of hand-dyed yarn, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So yeah, that's my harvest sweater. All the details of what I'm doing are in my project page as usual, so just check that out if you have any questions. Talking about sweaters, the one that I'm wearing today is my featherweight cardigan. It's actually my second one. I've knit the pattern twice because I just really, really like it. And this one is knit out of Mirasol Sulca Legato, which is an alpaca merino, or at least alpaca wool and silk blend, I believe. So I knit this last year, and I'm actually wearing this a ton, especially because it is super light, but with the alpaca it is still really warm. So I'm actually wearing lots of alpaca things at the moment because they're just really, really useful when it's cold, but you don't want to be suffocating in super thick sweaters. At least I don't like that. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing today, if you're wondering. So with that, let's move on to acquisitions. And guys, if you don't want to see my haul, or if you're going to judge me, then don't watch this, because I have so much stuff here and I'm not really sure how it actually got here. Please don't judge me if you don't want to see this. This is totally fine. It all just kind of happened, and yeah, I have quite a bit of yarn to show you. But that's also exciting, right? So I showed you before the Pichinku yarn that I'm going to try very soon. And kind of on the same topic, well, this is going to make sense in a second. There's a relatively new yarn store in Munich called Ravelry. Actually, a viewer of the podcast told me about it. It's a new, I think it's been there since December, and the owner is very conscious about using ethically sourced yarn and that sort of thing. So if you're interested in that, definitely do check out her website. I will link that because I didn't read it all up before the podcast. But anyways, I've been wanting to go, and she has relatively short opening times, and it's an area which I really like, but I don't get to very often. But on Friday, the stars aligned, and I was going to meet Kai in that area of town anyways, because he had a seminar, and then I realized that she might be open, and I really didn't need more yarn, but I just had to check it out. And I grabbed one skein of yarn because I just really needed it in my life. And yes, this is a very untypical color for me. But she had Knit by Numbers by John Arbin, and I have been wanting to get my hands on this for so long. I think it is a fantastic yarn. It is actually very well priced, so it's definitely something that I would consider using for future sweaters and things, and I've just never been able to get my hands on some. So this is John Arbin's Knit by Numbers, and they're double knit or DK weight, so it's 100% merino yarn. And guys, this is so soft. It has a bit of a halo going on, the way that it's spun, and it's just beautiful. So it's shade number KBN 10. I guess 10 is the number. And yes, it is very much out of my color scheme, but I've really needed some DK yarn because I want to knit some hats and mittens and warmer things, and I actually don't own any DK yarn. And I just thought that this shade was really great, something more neutral. And how does this relate to Pichinku yarns? Well, both of them are DK weight yarn, and I've been wanting to knit something with this, but 50 grams is just a little bit too little to knit a hat. So what I've been thinking is I could knit a beautiful hat out of this, and then maybe just randomly stripe in these little super fun minis. I think that would work really, really well and would be really cute. And then I would have some of this left over, so I could pair the leftovers of this with this to knit either another hat or a cowl or something. So I'm just thinking that these might go very well together. They might not end up in the same project, but they could be. And I'm really, really excited to knit something out of this stuff very soon. But yeah, this just kind of happened. And how cute would it be to have just a very simple stockinette hat, and then just like one stripe of yellow and one stripe of this more like orangey yellow, and then one stripe of this. I think that would be really fun. So I'm incredibly excited by this. And if you are in the Munich area, I would recommend you check out Ravelry. It's a very small shop, but she has some really interesting yarns. She also had some blacker yarns, which I've been wanting to touch and see. She had rosy green wool. She had, well, just a really nice selection of unusual yarns, I would say. So yeah, this had to come home with me, and I have no regrets because this is just so pretty and it's really soft, and I absolutely love it. And I feel like it's something I don't already have, because I tend to kind of buy the same things all over again. But this is actually something I really needed. I really lack in my stash, so I'm super excited by this. Also, this week, the first shipment of my yarn club arrived. So I joined the yarn club from Regina, who has the Herbstblatt Regina Etsy shop where she dyes yarn and makes project bags, and she has a podcast as well. And I've been wanting to get some of her yarn for ages, and in December, I think just right after Christmas, I signed up for her 3-month yarn club. It's a Western themed yarn club, and the first yarn arrived. So if you don't want to see it, here's a spoiler alert. I'm going to show it. So the first one arrived, and the colorway is called Winnetou and Old Shatterhand, and this is just perfect. Again, very much out of my usual colors, very different and exactly what I wanted. So this is her logo, Herbstblatt Regina. She's from Germany. And I got the club on her Hazel Soft Sock fingering weight yarn, which is her 80/20 merino and polyamide. Because yeah, I just love, I really wanted to try this base, and her shop sells out pretty quickly, so I was just, when I saw the yarn club, I just had to go for it. And as you can see, it's definitely Western themed, but then it has these blue specks in here, which are really interesting. So again, I feel like it's something I don't already have, which is great, and this is probably going to become a pair of socks, and I really, really love this skein. I can't wait for the second and third shipment to arrive and see what else she has planned. But yeah, I'm super excited about this. It's probably going to go into stash for now, but yeah, very, very excited and positive. I always knew I was going to like whatever she sent me, but yeah, I'm really, really happy with it. You never know with yarn clubs, and of course there are some colors that are more my thing than others, but this is definitely working for me very well. So thank you, Regina. And then, yes, Yarn Pig. You know, I've been hosting the One Ball with Laugh Cow, which was initially to use my commercial sock yarn. And I have actually knit 5 pairs of commercial sock yarn socks now already. So I'm definitely going to make my goal of 12. I was originally going to do 1 per month, but I've just been knitting a lot of socks at the moment. And so I figured if I used up 5 skeins of commercial sock yarn, I need to buy some more. So yeah, I think that's kind of counterintuitive, but that had to happen. And I had a voucher actually, like a coupon code, and some stuff was on sale, and then it just kind of happened. So I got 5 more skeins of sock yarn, because who didn't need more sock yarn? So first of all, I got a skein of this, and so many people have been asking about this colorway when I posted it on Instagram. This is Regia in their Fluor Mania, and yes, this is actually discontinued. So I was really surprised when I saw this on sale. I used one of the colors from this range about 3 years ago to knit my sister a pair of neon socks, and she loved them. And I've been meaning to get some more, but like I said, I don't think it's in stores anymore. And then I actually found this in the sales section, and I just had to grab it because I think this is also the most perfect one out of the entire series. So this is Regia Flormania color in the colorway 7184. And I'm sorry to wave this in front of your faces in case you can't get it anymore. But I have some exciting plans for this, which might involve a knit along, who knows. And yeah, so I got this one. and I got it for like $5, I think. And then in the sales section, I also got this one. This is also Regia in the Surfer Color series, colorway number 4286. And this is also a really fun sort of self-patterning one. The picture doesn't really help a lot with this color, does it? But I think these are going to be very fun, and they have this sort of vintage look about them. I really like it. I think that's going to be very pretty. And then I got these two, which are from a new range of Regia. I think they just came out. These are in their Norway color series. And the blue one is colorway 2914, and the red one is 2915. So these have more like traditional Fair Isle motifs on them, and I think these will also be really fun to knit up. I'm really liking how that will look. So because I got a red and a blue one, theoretically I could make sort of like matching socks for me and Kai. Or they might become something completely different, I'm not sure yet, but I'm really liking these as well. I also grabbed a skein of opal, because opal or opal is always great. And this is in their series Wetterleuchten. And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see, but it has a really fun sort of self-patterning repeat as well, and I think the colors are just very pretty. And the colorway for this one is, it's called Leuchten, 9325. So I'm really happy with these. Did I need them? Absolutely not. But I'm super excited about these, and I always find for gift knitting commercial sock yarn is great. Because, not because I don't want to use my nicer indie dyed yarn, but because with these, you can just throw them in the washing machine and they will basically survive anything. So I don't mind using fancier yarn for gifts, but a lot of times when I'm gifting them to, for example, my boyfriend's family, I don't want to put hand washing or anything onto them, or I'm worried they might bleed, because some indie dyed yarns do bleed. And so I think these are just great staples, and some of them might become like Christmas gifts, some might be for me. I have no idea, but I'm really happy with these. So that's it for my acquisitions. I hope you enjoyed that. I know quite a few people asked me questions about the commercial yarn when I posted that on Instagram this week, so I hope that helped. And I do actually blame the One Ball with Love cow for inspiring me to buy all these commercial sock yarns. I was planning to use lots of them, and I am, so it's definitely working out for me. But lots of people are posting more sock yarns, and it's getting more exciting, and then I need to buy them all. So yeah. Anyways, no regrets. I'm really happy with my acquisitions. And I feel like, yes, I buy a lot of yarn, but lately I've been using so much yarn as well. I've been doing crazy amounts of knitting. And if you think about it, even the Find Your Fate already used 7 skeins of yarn, which were all from stash. So I am also emptying out my stash quite a bit at the moment. So yeah, that's fine. Like I mentioned before, I want to cast on all the things at the moment. It's really terrible. I have so many pairs of socks planned, and I also will cast on my Valentine's Day socks tomorrow. I haven't chosen it yet. I will have to choose my colors probably today. Actually, hang on, Valentine's Day is on Tuesday, so I have some time. Also, I want to be knitting socks for my sister, and the grocery girls have kind of gotten me onto the shorty socks trip, so I want to knit some shorty socks, especially with the Find Your Fate. I've been using quite a bit of sock yarn for that, and I have leftovers obviously, because you don't use the full skein, so I'm thinking I'd like to use those for shorty socks or something. Yeah, I just really want to knit all the things, and I think my sock mojo, which was gone like 1 or 2 weeks ago, is back in full blow, so I'm thinking once I finish the fade and my sweater, I might just exclusively knit socks for a while and get all the sock knitting out of my system. I think one more reason why I'm very bad with castanitis at the moment is because I am feeling like my knitting time is coming to an end. I'm hoping that job-wise something is going to work out and be decided very soon, so I'm imagining that I won't have that much knitting time after that, so I'm just knitting as much as I possibly can at the moment. Having said that, nothing is set in stone, so who knows. So yeah, that's it for my knitting, I believe. So I'm just going to move on to life in general, which is where I talk about just general life stuff. So if you're not interested in that, that is 100% fine. And in that case, I will see you next week. And if you are interested, I'll just quickly talk about what's been happening. It's been another stressful, crazy week, especially because I've been trying to plan things and it just never really worked out. I think I posted like 3 times this week, like on Wednesday, on Thursday, and Friday. I was like, I'm going to have an education today. I'm just going to relax, and then a phone interview pops up and an assessment center pops up, and then you have to call back there and you have a meeting there. And in the end, I always planned to do all this relaxation stuff, and it never really happened, which is fine. I'm so happy that things are moving forward, and yeah, lots of things are happening, which is absolutely positive, and I'm thrilled about it. But it is making it very hard to plan anything, which is insane. So yeah, I've been busy with interviews, like I've said. The interview marathon continues, and it will continue tomorrow, which is why I won't be podcasting tomorrow. I'm hoping something is going to be decided soon, because I've been doing this for a while now, and it's really, really exciting. And I mean, I am interviewing for a lot of places because I also have, certain things that I want and expectations. And I think it's a case of the longer you study, the more you want a perfect job to justify the amount of time you spend studying, which is crazy, but it's sort of how I feel. But I'm getting to the point where I'm a little bit worn out, and I'm hoping that soon I will know what's happening, and the crazy phase is over, and another crazy phase will definitely be starting. But yeah, we'll see about that. I'm super excited about the interviews that I have tomorrow. And yeah, I think I have kind of figured out what would be my ideal plan and what would be my backup plan. So I'm just hoping it will work out. And thanks to everyone who's been like wishing me good luck and all that. I really, really appreciate that. Besides that, what has been happening? I feel like this whole job thing is really eating me up. Like, I've been busy with all these meetings and interviews and phone interviews, and then I was kind of going insane when I realized that I hadn't actually met up with a friend for like a couple of days. So all I've been doing was that and knitting and nothing else. So I'm trying now to be, just a little bit more social as well, because I think I kind of tend to hold myself into the apartment and then just not think of anything else and not leave the house, which is not essentially helpful when you're stressed already. Anyways, I played tennis again last week, and this time I actually did not die afterwards. The first time we played tennis, it was like the first time for me in like 8 years, possibly 10 years. And the tennis itself was fine, but afterwards, I think I was in pain for like 4 days straight. It was ridiculous. I actually went to bed at like 9:30 on a Saturday night because even just sitting up was too painful. So I was expecting the same thing to happen last Tuesday, but I actually ended up being fine afterwards, which was great. So I'm feeling a lot more sporty and fit now, which is fantastic. And yeah, we've really been enjoying playing tennis lately, so I think it's good I like to, do lots of different things. And I'm also excited about spring and stuff, when you can do more sports outside and just spend time in general outside. I'm looking forward to that. What else? Yesterday, I'm just thinking, we had a really, really great day, but I can't actually remember what we did. Anyways, why would you care what I did yesterday anyways? I'm just rambling. I don't know what it is, but I think at the end of my podcasts, I always relax because I have gotten all the important stuff out of the way, and then I just tend to talk and talk and talk. So I think I'm just going to stop here. Thank you so much for watching this podcast. I appreciate that so much. You won't believe it. You guys are incredibly supportive, and it just gives me so much happiness and joy and positive inspiration and all that when you guys get in touch with me, I really, really, really appreciate it. If I don't always answer to something immediately, please know it's not because I don't care. It is just because it's been busy. And a lot of time I'll be maybe checking Ravelry when I'm on my way to go somewhere, and then I forget to answer, and it is just that. I feel like I have been not great at replying to everyone's comments lately. Please just know that I read everything. I try to be as active as I can, but sometimes I just don't have enough hours in the day. So nevertheless, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. Happy knitting. Bye.